outside of the desert. And of course, when it comes to OPscT and Yelo, they might be sticking to where NICKMERCS and HD are going, so we might see a mirror strategy. But of course, they're going to be heading over towards Salty. HD, NICKMERCS,
Yes,
where are they heading over to?
I believe they're going to be going to the outskirts of Retail Row, which this is not at all common.
For them, not at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not used to this whatsoever. That's very interesting. Wow. I mean, we saw them, go this, once last series? I can't even remember. That was very, very odd.
No, last series they went to retail, but I think they went straight into residential area. I don't believe they went to the outside. So for them to play this passive, honestly, is kind of refreshing. But then again, it's got me worried what's going on with NICKMERCS and HD. You know, but hey, obviously it's a more sustainable type of play. Landing at those other areas, just going in for the hot drops, are very entertaining to watch, but they're not sustainable long term. And we've seen that given their previous tournaments. But now the fact that they're making such a great loser bracket run might come to a testament of the reason being is they are landing on the outskirts. They are landing more passively overall. So overall refreshing. I like what I'm seeing.
I did too. It's like I said, overall is the key word in this situation. It's nice to see the strategy change up from time to time. Like I said, they probably get tired of Tilted Towers after playing countless tournaments, countless Friday Fortnights where NICKMERCS, and every single one of them is going Tilted Towers probably 98.6% of the time. Don't ask me why that exact percentage, but it is what it is. Retail Relics are on the outskirts, now making their way inside of it. As speaking of trying to progress themselves, also in the tournament as well. Like I said, so many close games, so many close quarter situations. You could argue they're obviously the more hotter of the two because they have played so many games back to back to back. They got the clutch factor on their side. We'll see if it continues. Versus a very talented team, however, like OP, like Legion said, very flashy player, super solid player as well, streamer for TSM. A lot of people have even argued on Reddit how he should be maybe even on the pro team. He should be considered to be a player going into like the World Cup, into tournaments such as that. And also Yelo, recent addition toward FaZe Clan, super solid player in his own regard. Not sure if he's going to be a solo player, duos with anyone in particular, but this could be, a matchup where we're saying, you know what, HD and NICKMERCS, once this game comes to a close, they had a really good tournament run, but they just fall short to the better team. So it's definitely possible that we could see that storyline once this series comes to an end.
Yeah, both teams with the matching outfits as well, which we both know actually increases team chemistry by at least 40%. And you're going to see NICKMERCS right there with those matching outfits dropping a total of 5 players now in Retail Row. We all know the challenges we've been mentioning all day taking place here, so there's a high amount of eliminations ready and available. And, of course, those players rotating north from Paradise, trying to make their way up there. Shout out to my boy Paradise, who also is known as Paradise in our games because he's always down first.
Right on. This is NICKMERCS and HD. They were low in health, but they managed to get some band-aids as well as a first aid kit to get out of there. So luckily for them, they're looking pretty solid overall. 5 kills, not a bad start in the beginning. And honestly, more fruitful than their typical tilted drop that we like, or excuse me, that we see them go. But with that being said, OPscT Yelo, they've got a head start in terms of rotations. They're already at Dusty Divot themselves. They've accumulated 2 kills and maybe even more to come their way as they've already cut off the rotation of NICKMERCS and HD. They've got some distance to travel as they're going to have to get over towards the Dusty Divot themselves. Now, OPscT and Yelo, if they play this correctly, they can beat NICKMERCS and HD on all of the rotations, but they have to start deciding where are they going to be going from this point forward. Moving into mid-game, close to late game at this point, as we now are down to 35 engagements. Obviously, a lot of work still to be done. Where are the players hiding at, guys?
Obviously in small rooms or basements in every crevice on this map. If we've seen these last couple of series with NICKMERCS and HD, it seems like players are literally just hiding, waiting to be found. Unfortunately, it's a long game of hide and seek.
Surprise!
Yeah, and they just pop out towards the end of that final circle, 7, 8, 9. That's when they start actually coming out when the circle starts to get to a point where they can't hide anymore. But of course,
I was going to say,
I want more trap kills.
I could have swore I was about to scream if OP did not realize he just walked over a gold scar. So I'm very glad that he
right
referenced
outside
back.
of Dusty, which that loot spot right there, that rock, that's just that little area right in front of the mountain. I feel like there's always something golden there. I find a lot of shields, and of course he just gets lucky, finds that gold scar. Let's talk about the combo right here, folks. Gold scar, blue SMG, basically might as well both be gold scars at this point. That SMG absolutely shreds. OP and Yelo. Combined 2 eliminations. Just need to find this rotation, as you mentioned earlier, Taylor. If they can get it early on it, it's going to be a good chance of having some luck here. But NICKMERCS and HighDistortion has landed. Always mentions such a great job of gatekeeping. We saw that last game, or last series rather, in that salty area. We'll see if they can do it again this round.
Yeah, heading over towards the desert area. Obviously, a lot of rifts in that particular spot. wonder if they're going to opt to try and get one and kind of rotate forward. Of course, a little bit of distance to cover. Not too much, though, as they're just going to be on the outside of that. Expecting a lot of players to kind of rotate through that desert area. They've been successful thus far, but they've kind of hit a dry spell just like OPscT and Yelo. Although they landed salty, no one was going to be home as of yet. And, of course, them rotating over towards Tilted Towers could, in fact, be fruitful. Of course, being ahead of NICKMERCS and HD, that's something that you want. But looking for a rift, desperately looking for one, maybe even an ATK. We'll have to see if it is, in fact, going to be out there. But honestly, if you're NICKMERCS and HD at this point, you're sitting pretty. You know it's been a slow game so far. You still have the lead. Nothing too much to worry about.
I thought you were going to say something, Legion. I heard a...
I was going in off the short breath there, but then laughed immediately as we got the quad screen of, I believe that was NICKMERCS in the top right. Of course, he's going to find that gold pistol in the back pocket. And
It's been a long night, ladies and gentlemen.
Those silenced gold pistols, man, you just keep it. Do you even need an assault rifle if you can just dink kids with it? I mean, just being 100% honest with you, I just feel like there's so many viable options in this game. They don't know what's going on. Pop, pop.
There's a
You know what I'm saying? It's a nickname for grandpa and the sound that your pistol makes. Come here, pop, pop. And then everybody's just taking
It's
out.
like
Look at this.
the least... Oh, no!
Oh,
OP!
he takes some fall damage. OP.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, you got to get those ramps in there.
New subscriber!
Hey, shout out Volt Jolt. Thanks for joining the sub club there on OP's channel.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we all call it a sub club at some point as
true.
streamers at this point in my life.
Well, with that being said, an engagement is in fact going to be going down just on the outside of Tilted as OPscT doesn't get that knock, but Yelo will. OPscT trying to be aggressive, trying to ding the head off of the player just in that 1-by-1 just ahead. Will he shoot him to the ground? Yes, he will. Taking some fall damage and an easy pickup, but unfortunately taking some fall damage himself, but that is so incredibly needed, of course. 4 kills for Yelo. OPscT sitting at 1, so that's 5 now, matching the side, almost matching the side of NICKMERCS and HD sitting at 6, but they're going to be in an engagement themselves, bringing it into it. Of course, just on the outside of that circle, the Storm pushing on their back. They've got to be careful, but the engagements haven't been going as fast as I would have expected them to have been going.
It's a 7-year engagement for sure, Taylor. And we're hoping he finally pulls the trigger on her date. But let's go see NICKMERCS and HD now with a total of 6 for Sop and Yelo. We saw Op get knocked down from the winner's bracket here with Yelo from one of those aggressive pushes. Seems like he is taking a lot of fall damage, actually almost willing to. That's twice now we've seen him almost get taken out. Luckily, Yelo, though, playing that more passive role back there. Now both of them should have a scar, but he opts not to keep it. He's got a hunting rifle, 4 C4s, and a shotgun. And, of course, we're going to see that silent submachine gun because why do you need anything else? You just need that, some caviar, and you've got yourself a fancy dinner.
Indeed, pop. That's for sure. Definitely agree with that.
Tell you what, I
Nice
appreciate
eliminations. Nice eliminations coming through from OP, but he gets involved with the kill feed, finding 3 of those. And I believe at the exact same time, HD also dropped some coming through from that ATK. So he's going to have a nice little movement. Is he even going to go for it? Is he just going? Okay, I thought he was just ignoring the loot whatsoever and just kind of, or ignoring the ATK rather, and just kind of going in for the Storm. So I don't know what it is, but I know the ATK makes some noise, obviously, because it is a vehicle. I've been seeing a lot of players, like, even though it would be very beneficial to move faster, not actually grabbing ATKs. Like, and I'm not obviously talking about HighDistortion in the situation, but just in general, I've seen many players just kind of ignore the fact that ATK exists and just be totally fine with walking. I'm not sure if they need exercise or whatever the case is, but they're just kind of ignoring them, and I'm not okay with it, Taylor, to be honest.
Well, I think it also comes down to even pushing back to Season 4 with just a shopping cart. With the sound that it makes, plus you being just a giant target, it's used in situations if you got to cover a large amount of ground, a.k.a. Nick A30, shout out to him earlier. But honestly, with it being said, there's no need, at least in terms of the total engagement still remaining, being just that close to the outside of the Storm. There's really no reason to be using it. Obviously, he's going to use it right now to get kind of a little bit of distance. If he finds a rift, though, he'll probably opt to use that. But we see OPscT and Yelo using a rift themselves, get that high ground over the Greasy Grove area. With that being said, they're sitting at 7 versus the side of NICKMERCS and HD sitting at 10, so still a very close game. Nick and HD have managed to find a lot of players. HD, though, that fight inside the Storm that we just saw a little bit earlier was really the definition of composure. He knew his health was dropping, but he still managed to pick up that full squad coming in with the ATK. Great use of that part, but of course, he's going to find that rift, ditches the ATK, and now he's going to push forward towards Greasy to try and meet up with OPscT and Yelo for the final few remaining kills.
Well, so you can find those NICKMERCS peppering in a few of those bullets just on the outskirts here. Another ATK found. And still, like I said, doing quite a bit of damage with the green tack in combination with the epic version of the FAMAS. Fantastic synchronization, really kind of to dodge that player, making him think he's going to go one way, kind of crosses him over and goes for the excess. So nice play coming through from Nick as he's now up to 4 eliminations. However, like we mentioned regarding kills overall, it's actually going to be HD at 7 in total, right? Is the combination of OP and Yelo combined, right? 7 for them, 7 for HighDistortion. He's about to make it 8. Fantastic performance right now from Nick and HD. That aggression definitely paying off, as we may not be seeing as close of a game as we have in the last 2 if they continue at the pace that they are right now.
Yeah, that laser-like focus, and still no actual visible mouth from NICKMERCS up there in the top right corner. Very excited. We're going to see maybe pull back there. We only see it in losses. He's in full try-hard mode if he's this close to the screen. Of course, we all know that's going to be a good sign here, obviously, with the is it the Raven backpack, actually, that's going on well with that outfit. So pretty exciting to see that one out. Ops and Yelo just need to make their way in. Obviously, they're kind of trying to do this gatekeeper role, maybe zone, but more than likely just healing, and, of course, coming in a little bit later. This is actually going to be an advantage yet again for NICKMERCS and HD, trying to just fight off, see if they're going to be coming in from the opposite side, and maybe they'll actually spot some players over here, and I believe what is a soccer field, which is actually my favorite place right now. And I don't know, is it going to be Croatia or is it going to be the French?
Oh, very
we'll
clever.
see.
Oh, that is an interesting question.
Croatia.
Landon thinks Croatia. Okay. Croatia did play very well. They did play very well.
They did.
They're in the finals.
They are.
This is the finals. They've played excruciatingly well.
Absolutely.
Excruciating.
That's in a good way though.
I love giving compliments to people in like odd ways, like using like you were playing excruciatingly well. I like that.
Painstakingly.
Yeah, like painstakingly.
Yeah, I mean, there's occasionally, your fingers just start bleeding when you're starting to play, on console, at least mouse and keyboard for long enough. I'm actually not for sure if that's true or not, but I'm sure it's happened to somebody at some point there. Playing in some weird exotic conditions for stream viewers. But we're going to go ahead and see NICKMERCS climbing up top to this as he's going to be trying to get some high ground, of course, making his way over here to Viking. Will there be some players camping up here? Hopefully so. I want to see some action on the waterfall land, and I want to see a little TLC action. Don't go chasing them.
Don't go chasing them.
But at this point, you have to chase them, though, and that's kind of an unfortunate thing because you know there's going to be opponents up here in Valhalla. NICKMERCS is finally going to push up, but he's going to be low in health, 59. Getting that high ground, and wisely so, pushing up ever so high. But I do believe he is going to be out of match just about, only 75 medals, so he's got to make sure that his aiming's going to be on point. And unfortunately, he's going to drop HD, though. Where's HD? Is he anywhere to be found? Of course, though, the victory route will, in fact, come through. Yelo and HD will split those kills, and I believe HD got 2 where Yelo got 1.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a nice sizable
Sorry.
lead. 14
to 9.
14 to 9
That's
going
right.
into game number 2. Of course, a 5-kill lead. Not a lot, but not a little either. OPscT and Yelo, they've got to come back. But I just want to highlight, by the way, HD NICKMERCS going to the outside of retail. This is a new page in this book of HD and NICKMERCS that we typically see throughout the whole storyline. We've always seen them go tilted. We've always seen them do hot drops. Maybe something is changing.
They're evolving.
They are.
They're evolving.
They're not even at their final form yet.
It doesn't matter where they hot drop. They're just good.
So I'm so
proud.
proud.
I'm so proud of them, though, leaving tilted, taking retail. I mean, honestly, it's kind of one of those things where it's been a day since this season came out, right? So everybody's just kind of finding themselves. Once you start getting about 6, 7, 8, 9 hours in your competitive little handbook here, your little coach's playbook, then you start changing it up a little bit, and that's what I'm saying. They've been around for a long time, playing competitively, man. They can change that playbook up anytime they want, and today we're seeing it from NICKMERCS and HD. Of course, OP and Yelo, unfortunately, coming up short here game 1, but of course it's still relatively close going into game 2, so will we see a quadruple overtime?
I don't know. that is a good question. Honestly, anything can happen.
I'll be on the floor by then.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be on
I
the
actually
floor
brought
casting.
a stand-up bed so I can cast standing up while I'm sleeping. It's got straps on it, so it keeps me
Wow.
up, and I can just kind of yeah.
That's interesting,
Yeah,
actually.
it was the same one other guy had on Ripley's, believe it or not. You
Why
guys
would
never
you-
seen that episode?
what's the functionality
God,
of
nobody's
it?
watching shows on
I watch
WGN.
I watch Ripley's Believe It or Not. What's the functionality of a standing up bed?
Just sleeping standing up, you know what I'm saying? It's like laying down, but you're not.
That's a good point. That's a great analysis, actually.
I don't want to blow your mind or anything, but I think I might have your brain just exploded.
I'm not going to lie. The headset's keeping it all in. So 14 to 9, we're going into second game. OPscT Yelo. Look at this aggressive drop. We're going to be heading over towards Pleasure. Let's see how it works out for the two teams, but apparently that was funny. Paradise.
I've been calling it Pleasure Park.
You have been calling it. Oh man, so you tricked me up, bro.
For like 6 weeks.
Legion has literally
I've
been
been calling it
calling.
Pleasure
He's
Park.
been calling Pleasant Park Pleasure Park. So I see the P, and I just assume it was Pleasure Park. Still
sounds
learning
like
a
a fun
little bit.
place, but OP with the pistol in the
You
back
love it,
pocket. You
folks.
see the shotgun out tack, going to be pushing this man with the steel
love
bill,
it.
making his way to the RV park just like Grandpa. He's excited for this holiday season, folks. But where's he going to spot him around the corner? Does manage to get that drop. Unfortunately, not his or his teammates' knock. Or it may have been just a little bit of delay there from Yellow. No big deal. Just like, like 20-second delay. No big deal.
Hey, man. Paradise, pleasure, both are the same things. So
Pecan. I love pecan.
Picone, whichever way you say it, right?
Pecan.
Never heard anyone.
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, what's your favorite pie? Oh, pecan pie for sure.
I just
Definitely
love.
pecan, bro.
I don't know, man. It's just. Have you ever been to the mall and just got some roasted pecans? That's my favorite way to eat pecans. It's so good. I mean,
Pecans for
my
sale.
cousin's actually allergic to pecans. Yeah. So whenever I'm eating Illmans, I love to share my Illmans with my cousin who loves pecans. Yeah. And peanuts. Yeah, those are my favorite too. Yeah. Those are really good.
What is going on?
Oh my God.
We've hit another level of off topic tonight, Chad. And if you're tuning in, it's okay. You drop those hashtag cringes. We keep it lit here. Picking up those bandages as well. OP, a nice few eliminations now out of him and Yellow. I'm telling you, the flashy plays will never stop from this gentleman. I'm so excited to see what he's going to be able to do here as they have landed in Paradise Palms.
Well, let's bring it.
If you enunciate it, you won't ever forget the name again. And there's the hotel here in Pleasure Park. Let's see.
Yep. We have made it. We have reached our final form. I think this is what. Yep. Well, Chad is wrong. So there you go. NICKMERCS and HD performing so incredibly well. They're sitting at three total kills. Yo, guys. All right, you muted them. All right, cool. Let's bring it in. All right, Reflection, you're professional. OPscT and Yellow here on your left side, doing incredibly well. Of course, 4 frags or 4 kills in their names, looking relatively well. Obviously, Paradise is an area you got to be careful in because there's so many people dropping there. Just like a Tilted, a newly founded Tilted, but man, have they performed exceptionally well, winning overall. So NICKMERCS and HD, though, looking good themselves over at retail. This is an area they've been going at least for the past couple of games, and it's been working out for them. Why change something if it's not broken? But, man, what a performance on their part. Great headshot to get that elimination to put them at a total of 7 kills for HighDistortion. He is doing so incredibly well. They came into this game with the lead, and they're already maintaining a lead with HD alone, keeping that lead alive.
And their pacing is so interesting here in retail because they don't just overextend, try to immediately get some loot, and then run over to the other side of the map. Here you got Noms over there, obviously a little Bass Pro Shop action going on in the corner. They just pace slowly, move house to house together, and of course they just collapse. And this is one of the situations where you're seeing a lot of teamwork, a lot of assistance here from NICKMERCS. To give HD these 7 total eliminations, you're looking at Ops and Yellow, you're talking 5 for them, not doing too bad, but to be in an area that's so popular and so new, you'd expect even more eliminations coming into this game too. For them in this area.
Yeah, definitely. So 21-14, a nice lead, of course. Still plenty of engagements remaining for OPscT and Yellow to make that comeback possible. Hitting up that Pleasant Park right at the very beginning was obviously a good area for them to go to, but still, with that being said, they're only sitting at 5. I expected at least for it to be a little bit more fruitful, but look at the distance they have to cover and no rifts to be found. They're not able to jump forward, but of course the storm hasn't started moving as of yet, so still time remaining for them to come in on that at least that first circle. But NICKMERCS and HD, they've got a jump on it. They're going to be a dusty divot. Players should be found here.
Definitely should. And that's one thing we've been talking about, too, with HighDistortion's overall play. And this even goes back to his first week ever playing, which I think was like, week 7, something along those lines, where it was just like all of a sudden, like he can somehow manage to have like 7, 8, 9 kills in just a matter of moments. That's just overall credit to his overall play, obviously, as a player. And the overall support, right, that we talked about NICKMERCS can provide, to this team. I know I've been saying overall at least like 8 times in a row there. But still, NICKMERCS, when it comes into a support player, you could argue is a great counterpart to HD's overall play, as like I said, just in combination, plays a great support player. They have the previous chemistry together as a unit, and like I said, whenever it comes down to HighDistortion's play, he can somehow just explodes with the insane amount of frags that we don't even know how to comprehend.
That's a fact. HD just comes through and is able. I mean, obviously, the solo squad god himself, right? He goes into these solo squads. This is kind of his homeland. Obviously, to have NICKMERCS, though, in his inventory is hugely beneficial. NICKMERCS, a great player himself, representing the console scene, but still, with that being said, OPscT Yelo haven't found any kills overall. They've gone through Salty. Now they're going to be heading towards, at least up towards Dusty to kind of meet up with NICKMERCS and HD. HD, though, he's going to be finding a player straight ahead with that thermal, dinging some shots, taking off some shield as well as health. NICKMERCS, he finds the confidence to kind of push forward. Spots one, goes for the second, hiding inside of the water, just spotting the head. HD is going to come on the right side, and he's going to be able to get a knock as well with the eliminations finally coming through, and HD with yet another one, and there it is. All three go down, and you talk about keeping that lead alive. They're sitting at 13 to the still 5 of OPscT and Yelo.
Yeah, and we're looking at those eliminations. I mean, back to the ATK. That thing starts pushing you here. You hear it. It's so loud. It's so audible that at this point you're thinking to yourself, hopefully, especially one of these players at their level, man, I hope a whole squad's riding on the back of this thing because this is going to be pretty much just Merc City for him. And there you can see he's putting some shots in. Yelo with some nice shots there from the Zoom, as we like to call it, of course. Scope, they are absolutely nasty. Wouldn't mind seeing a gold variant of it because why not at this point? But you're going to see Yelo following up. OP and Yelo have a lot to cut out for him here if they want to make this comeback. But great shots. And, of course, still doing some dinks with that Zoom. We're going to see if we can get the high advantage. Does so. Knocks a total of 3. Gets those eliminations. Great plays out of Op and, of course, Yelo.
Yeah, and great transition kills from Yelo as well in that situation. I mean, he's just literally in a full-on sprint, just running at enemies, grabbing the high ground, and, of course, makes it look incredibly easy. Fantastic play in combination there from OP and Yelo as they're going to go ahead and get back in the zone. And, like I said, kind of playing that gatekeeping role that we've been highlighting quite a bit throughout a lot of our teams. At the same time, though, on the opposite end, NICKMERCS and HighDistortion grabbing a few of those rifts. And, boys, it looks like they could be possibly visiting their homeland of Tilted Towers.
Definitely so. They know how to navigate it. Of course, they've been going there. Really, NICKMERCS has been going there since the game came out, right? That's kind of been, like you said, his homeland overall. And, of course, they'll be there before OPscT and Yelo get there. So any engagements there will be found by NICKMERCS and HD, which obviously rightly so as they need to. They still have that lead. They want to maintain it. An impressive game on both ends. Very much so. Of course, going into this second game, what was the lead for NICKMERCS and HD? I want to say it was around, was it 3, 4?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Right? So obviously to still have this lead, it's kills are definitely dwindling away. OPscT and Yelo have to get to work at this point. They're going to be in Tilted now, but luckily for them, NICKMERCS and HD haven't found anybody just yet, but it looks like we do have a minor split between HD and Nick. HD is going to be just on the outside as Nick is going to be directly on the inside, pushing out, but of course, nobody home. Where are these final engagements? 17 to 27. That is that is 10 kills overall that OPscT and Yelo need to find, and of course, only a total of 18 engagements still remaining.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. We'll see what they can try to obviously come up with, but they're going to need a new game plan, right? We talked about, so far in this game, they've been a little bit slow when it comes down to the kill category. OP and Yelo, fantastic players in their own regard. We were giving them a ton of hype, obviously a lot of credit coming into this matchup. They're here in this losers round for that particular reason. And like I said, they've been kind of, it's fair to say, not as impressive as I was kind of expecting, at least when it comes down to this series, right? Facing off against a very aggressive team like NICKMERCS and HighDistortion. They obviously know each other well. OP and HD, I know, play, or at least have, against each other, with each other on stream from time to time. They know what they're facing off against, especially Yelo coming into a match like this where he obviously is a highly competitive player when it comes down to scrims, when it comes down to certain matches that he's facing off against. He's played against teams who are like this exact team, so I don't know what the game plan is or has been, but it needs to change up.
I'd like to see some bait plays here with these rifts. Like, if you're looking to just, if you're playing casually or even at this level, I mean, you might be able to just destroy some of those builds, get some easy kills, while people like there, for example, Op just built up, no protective ramp, no base floor, just managed just kind of get up there and then soar in across, and hopefully, if you can get some of these kills here, that's going to be pivotal. A great turn there on Huntress, manages to pull out that tack sub. No AR in this man's inventory, still rocking the C4s, of course, with that green tack. Not a lot of ammo, though, which means there's going to be a little bit of an itch here, but will the C4 destroy this ATK? Nice shots here. Needs to get the reload off and the build safe. Of course, he needs help from Yelo. waiting for him to be able to rotate around the map. Mini's in the back pocket. And of course, he still has this medkit next to him. If he can get some help from his teammate, this is going to be pretty big. But I think he's by himself, boys.
Yeah, I'm looking at the mini map, and I do see a little red arrow coming in, but that is in fact going to be NICKMERCS, which actually could be a savior in itself. Yeah, he may lose a kill, but he'll still save his life.
Oh,
but OPscT is in fact going to get knocked from a fall. And of course, Yelo nowhere to be found. And I do believe that is going to be an elimination. Yes, he is. He goes down now. Yelo with a massive deficit now has to try and close it out in a 1v2, and HD is finally knocks himself. You talk about your back against the wall. Yelo, I don't know if it can happen here. Of course, though, he's not going to give up. He's finding a player just below, but he doesn't get that knock. Nick steals it. Going back and forth, and of course, this is going to be a very bad spot for Yelo to be in overall, even with a knock. Only a total of 14 engagements remaining with another kill himself, but will take some fall damage. So that's a tough hit. OPscT falling, man, that gives away a lot of opportunities. You can't split now. You can't push forward. You don't have your teammate there in your inventory in order to support you in fights. And now you got NICKMERCS and HD hot on your toes.
I would say, well, that push from OP, you could argue, in different situations could have, targeted from different point of views. You could argue he could have maybe attempted those shots in different ways. But that push was necessary. He had to have a push like that happen.
Absolutely.
If they want to get back into this game, high risk, high reward plays is what you got to do when you're down the way that you are, and you see the amount of elimination potential that obviously was in Pleasant Park. I respect the player from OP. Unfortunately, doesn't go his way. I'm not exactly sure. He gained a lot of air whenever he was kind of coming down. Not sure what that came from. If there happened to be like a spare bounce drop on the ground, which actually, if it would have been a bounce drop, he would have stayed alive. Whatever it could have been, right? But still, in that situation. Well, it does seem a little bit odd. He had to do it, and it doesn't work out for him in this spot. We'll see what happens, though, here for OP. What he can try to pull off would be very, very difficult. They said, 8 eliminations, and there's going to be 10 players alive? It's happened in the past, and it's happened versus NICKMERCS and HD.
It's happened
Will it
today.
happen here? Yeah.
It's happened today, actually, less than 2 hours ago, when we all almost literally lost the top of our heads from exploding due to that incredible comeback there earlier as well. But, of course, still trying to locate some of these other players. They're going to be on this portion of the map. All 3 of them actually taking height advantage. OP doing the smart thing, just trying to follow suit, as he's going to be followed as well by NICKMERCS and HighDistortion. Of course, this is going to be one of those moments where if you're seeing some eliminations, you're knowing that amount of eliminations are dwindling total overall. And, of course, no AR. This is where that does become a little bit of a damper. Obviously, that Submachine Gun doing some great jobs. But, of course, NICKMERCS with 2. And I do believe, folks, that
should be it or very close.
Or very close.
Well, I know
Yellow
picked up 1 himself, so I think we're still waiting on 1 more elimination right now. Of course, whoever
I think if he gets every kill, he can tie it, unless another elimination went down that we didn't track.
But yeah, but NICKMERCS, I'm looking at the kill feed right now, and I still believe it's possible.
This could be it here.
But yeah, it definitely could be it, especially if NICKMERCS picks this one up. But as I say that, Yellow did pick one up, but can NICKMERCS get this? This is so incredibly important. Shooting him from the back. Can he get the knock? Nick! There you go, straight up your shots, and there it is. That is, in fact, going to be it. I don't think it's possible for Yellow to make this comeback, and it's going to see NICKMERCS and HD moving forward in this tournament.
HD hopping in the ATK, doing some donuts. Probably super stoked about that W. 3 back-to-back games, right? 3 overall series where they have made it by the skin of their teeth. This one, obviously not as close as the last 2. Why? Because they both came down to 1 elimination games in total. But man, what an insane tournament for NICKMERCS and HD. And honestly, well, this is obviously a very long situation that we found ourselves in here. It's also kind of a blessing in disguise because we get to watch a overall team play in back-to-back matches because we don't usually get that opportunity very often to see what it really means. Like if NICKMERCS' internet wouldn't have gone out, we wouldn't have been able to see these matches. We wouldn't be able to see all of these amazing moments. So I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise in some situations just because we don't really get the opportunity very often, if ever, to really track a team's overall progression throughout a tournament. And we didn't get to watch them play in the winner's bracket, their loser's bracket matchups, right, have been absolutely absurd. And I think it's kind of great for us to be able to witness, us to be able to broadcast, because these are obviously the only games available, but also very, very intense games to kind of highlight that with. So.
Yeah, and it seems like they're really heating up, too. I mean, HD dropping 13 total eliminations for that last game. If you're waiting for them in the loser's bracket ahead of time, you're seeing them coming up. They've obviously just made their run through 3 or 4 rounds. You're waiting for them. You're probably thinking to yourself, man, I better be playing these pub matches, getting ready, warmed up for this as best as possible because they're coming in hot, right off a heater. You're coming up with that momentum, man. I feel like when you have momentum with veterans, man, that's a scary formula.
I will say, Legion, while HighDistortion is heating up, he now has to face off against FaZe Clan.
He does have to go against FaZe, and on
Oh
top,
my god!
and on top of that, of course,